It is time for everyone's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. It's so good in 2025. So Meltzer said what? Earlier we covered how that Observer Geek fan asked this dumb question at the World's End Media Scrum. We reacted to it with Off Wrestling. Let's play it again here. This is incredibly humiliating and embarrassing. We'll play this minute in full. We'll read Meltzer Said What's reaction to it. And this is one of the most humiliating things of all time. And this is one of Dave's cronies. If you go on the guy's Twitter, he's an Observer fan. He's one of these guys that Meltzer says, like, oh, there's a show going on in Philly that I'm not watching. Someone tweet me the results or whatever. And this is how he gets worked by Marks all the time. And he sends out some Mark to come out here and not even ask a question. He just made a series of statements. It's for real.
That's what it is. No, exactly. It's exactly what it is.
It's all just bad faith and made up. And yeah, that's all he says. It's not even a question. He just makes a bunch of statements. And then Tony makes all these
a bunch of faces
because this guy was told this question to ask this question. And Tony's trying to sell it and pretend like this is his first time hearing this. No. So let's listen to this. And this is an L for Dave.
With the Wrestling Observer. Now,
with the Wrestling Observer.
What I would consider a lot of chatter online, negativity in regards to
negativity.
The product. And obviously, you're just coming off a brand new television deal. You're going to be on Max.
Am I? Did I get a Max deal? Did I get a deal with Max? I don't know.
You guys have
what are these faces?
At least a strategy for
the faces are the worst part.
Try to combat a lot of this negativity.
I'm being normal. I am a normal person.
Online and is basically done for almost monetary reasons to basically, basically bring down what you guys are doing when you guys are literally, having.
These are actual. This is Meltzer. You know what's funny, Jake, is that he's literally reading Meltzer off of a card and literally.
Seriously, is Dave on the other line?
That's what Dave wrote on this asshole's cue card. Is it's like actually dude, that's hilarious.
Oh my god!
Your best year that
and it's just haters, and they're not real. And you're the best guy, and literally, like
we love you. They're doing it for money.
Just like I said, I just see it online, and it's difficult. It's hard. It's hard to watch if you're a fan of AEW to just see again a lot of the negativity in regards to
what are you saying?
Negativity as well.
It was just a series of statements. There was no question there.
And it was it was a run-on sentence. It's just one long sentence. It's so Dave.
Yeah, dude. I swear Dave wrote that out word for word, bro. And then Meltzer said what says the classic Wrestling Observer AEW media scrum question, where they ask a question that has a long rambling preamble to it, frames the scenario for the person answering it, then establishes that the people who think this way are wrong and bad faith because everything is in fact great. This is great. Where's my great? So there's a throwback to this same thing. Meltzer said what? Doing the Lord's work as usual. Here's a throwback to 2022 of more of the same.
Question, Tony. Nyla Rose. Here's Amy's question, Tony. Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill have built an epic feud.
Sorry.
And storyline around the TBS.
Why is it pausing?
Championship with the stolen belt, replica belt going on tour with Jade, and Nyla's shenanigans. How did this story come about, and what are your expectations for Full Gear?
Well, the story came about in a funny way. We have actually, to be honest, I think planned.
Like, I promise you don't have to add the "how are you so great" preamble to every question you ask. And that's all. He's just pointing out how they glaze them, they frame it in a certain way, and it just comes with a bunch of but actually, you're so great, and Tony Khan, billionaire, the best guy, Tony Khan. Like, it always has to come with something like that.
And a deceit, and not always had to steal the championship belt. It was Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone mentioned something about it, and we had the meeting. And every once in a while, I thought it was a great idea that Nyla ended up running with, and she had a lot of fun with it.
So Glenn Gilberti, the Real Disco Inferno, responds to this stupid ass weird series of statements from this Observer guy. And he says, the Dave Meltzer one community of contributors only serve the purpose of providing comedic content for the podcast to make fun of at this point. Good grief. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Couldn't be more spot on with Disco.
Serious.
So Drain Bamager quotes Dave Meltzer here. And Meltzer says Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher might be the best pay-per-view opener in the history of pro wrestling. So people immediately responded to Dave and were like, bro, Owen Brett, Ray versus Kurt Angle. Like, I don't know. There's a whole list of these matches that you could name. And it's crazy to think this was the best opener of any pay-per-view ever. Of course, Dave was going to say this. We all knew it. We knew the agenda was give Ospreay 2 5 stars in one night or whatever. But Dusty Dave says, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher might have been the best opening match on a pay-per-view in history. It's certainly up there. I'm trying to rack my brain to come up with one better. He's always racking his brain. Oh, I'm trying to rack my brain because my brain has every match that's ever taken place ever in different compartments. My brain compartmentalized in wrestling promotions. New Japan's over here on the left, and I'm trying to rack my brain around Ospreay's catalog. Like, what the f- is he talking about, man? So yeah, he's always trying to rack his brain, an impossible feat, seemingly. And
seriously,
he's trying to say rack your brain. Like, okay, even if you disagree that Ray versus Kurt Angle wasn't better, it's not that hard to think of that one, Well,
and Alan Thomas just put it in the chat, and I thought that too. Didn't Punk and Drew open with the Hell in a Cell? Didn't they open Bad Blood with the Hell in a Cell match this year? I'm pretty sure that was the opening match.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God! Someone confirmed
because the ending
that
was Cody. Because the ending was Cody and Roman with Rock. That was the end of the pay-per-view. So they opened with Seth, with Punk and fucking Drew.
God. If they opened with Punk and Drew, and he's saying he's having a hard time racking his brain around it, dude. That they did. Dashing Purple's like, dude, they open match of the year. Open that.
Yeah,
and
it had to be.
Dave Meltzer's like,
oh my God,
saying he's trying to rack his brain around it. That's pretty crazy, man. When it happened just this year, and also Owen Brett exists.
Yeah, at WrestleMania 10. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's other WrestleManias that we're not thinking of that. Yeah, like with Ray and Kurt and other ones.
Robbie C said it too. WWE doesn't do pay-per-views.
Yeah, but more people are watching them.
WWE doesn't do pay-per-views. They're premium live.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Oh God, man, that is so sad. Meltzer is arguing back and forth with people. This guy named Duke Phillips, who asks, Dave Meltzer, is the strong style forearm exchange overdone in modern wrestling? And Meltzer says, here's pro wrestling. If the crowd reacts to it big on those nights, no. If the crowd doesn't react, yes. There are no rules in wrestling past. What works, works. So many things I've thought can't work based on logic from the past, and then they do work. Like, name one thing. Rather than get mad and call them wrong, I just realize things change, things work, get done to death, don't work, rinse, repeat. So, like, that's such a deflection of him just saying, is it overdone? Well, if it works on that night. Right. But if it's being overdone, then the likelihood of it working on any given night, let's say this year, let's say the forums are being overdone this year. Right. And then this year I go do a forearm exchange and it doesn't get over. Is that not because it's being overdone? Dave Meltzer, you cannot just skirt around and say all this about reaction and there's no rules in wrestling. If it works on the night, then it works. Yeah, we know if it works on the night, then it works, but that's not it. Something could still be overdone. Chops in the corner could be overdone, but still work every time. And you could still say it's overdone. Like, he's just separating. He's just skirting completely away from what the question even is, and then going on some psychobabble about some other completely random thing that isn't even about what this guy's asking about.
Didn't answer the question at all.
No, and then Glenn Gilberti goes, how about if it's done so often over time, hundreds of thousands of people stop watching it? Boom. Exactly. It's done every match, bro.
Yeah.
Biased much. So here is the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 W online, same different name. WWE drew 7,854 in the Kia Center, and AEW did 6,978 at the Edition Financial Arena. So WWE drew more for a house show, but it was also barely half full for a pro wrestling full setup. AEW was just shy of a sellout. So now the empty buildings matter. Is that
right?
What you guys mean to tell me? Is that what you guys mean to tell me? That now all of a sudden the buildings being half full matters, and this, oh my god, I'm so tired of these stupid idiots.
It's just ridiculous. Like, that's just not even. Oh, it's just sad. And then he tries to tell you he's not
bad, bro. It's a sad spiral, bro. For Alvarez too. Alvarez don't get a pass. His name's on this figure 4. You'll get a pass.
No, not at all.
But yeah, so WWE drew more for a house show, but it was also barely half full for a pro wrestling full setup. And God, a full setup. AEW is just shy of a sellout, and usually when you come a few hundred shy, you announce a sellout. They had no point on the broadcast claim to sellout. Of course, it's a house show versus pay-per-view, but it's also a super hot company who is the market leader. When WWF did this many times, usually in the past, they'd run the day before rather than head-to-head with a WCW pay-per-view show. The WWF house show always outdrew the WCW pay-per-view show. It also would run late to tire out the crowd for the next day, so this was a different strategy. Bro, this is what they don't understand. Or maybe they understand this, but they just won't admit it or whatever. But listen, you wouldn't say all that unless you were just a biased shill.
Yeah, there's no other reason to.
Not washing Glazer, bro. Glizzy Glazer. That's the only way you would ever even explain all of this when just a house show outdrew a pay-per-view. The explanation should be why they didn't draw more for, well, this is that explanation. No, you're just saying, well, WWF always outdraws everything, so it's not a big deal. Or like it shouldn't be a concern. Or like they tried to throw in the negative. Well, it was only half full compared to this actual full that was a sellout, but they didn't say it was a sellout, and all this dumb mental gymnastics they're doing all the time. Trying to boo-boo. You wouldn't boo-boo on WWE. You'd be like, phenomenal work for them. In the past, they did that as well. AEW should work on this. It happened to WCW. If they want to get out of the WCW comparisons, they need to do this. But instead, all anyone's doing is comparing them to WCW. They're competing with a dead company. And I've been saying this. I need Bischoff to come do a segment with me. Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. He needs to hear this. Okay, they're competing with him and his dead company that doesn't exist anymore. You know, it's crazy.
And all this does is boost Tony's ego. Like, yeah, we're doing our fine. We're doing great. Everything's great. Like, no, you need to hear how bad you're doing.
Yeah, because Daddy Dave told me. Daddy Dave and Cousin Bryan told me. So everything's great, you know. Eric Bischoff, speaking of which, responds. Bischoff says, this is entering a level of bizarre that's going from darkly entertaining to starving puppy sad. Seriously? Where do these creeps come from? Yeah, it's like disturbing, bro. It's getting weird out there, man.
Yeah, well, like a couple of years ago, the press scrums were fun to watch. It was a joke. It was enjoyable. Now it's just creepy. I can't watch them at all now. It just gives me the heebs.
Yeah, I typically I try and catch the clips after. I'll throw it on while I'm laying there and I'll kind of listen to it. But it's not something I'm overly excited to see, especially not the WWE ones anymore because they're so controlled. But anyways, Mr. Wrestling says that Punk and Drew have the edge, or this is what Meltzer says, but he's asking his audience to agree or disagree. So Dave Meltzer says Punk and Drew have the edge as far as match of the year. In sense, it was a big feud climax and very well done Hell in a Cell. So he's comparing it to Ospreay and Fletcher, dude. Okay? So Dave says that Punk and Drew have the edge in a sense that it was a big feud climax and very well done Hell in a Cell. And it was a huge crowd, Dave, and they cut great promos, and they actually worked, and it was blood once in a while, and it was all of these great things with the bracelet and the storytelling and the beads and all of these amazing things, and the moves they were doing was cool. And if they weren't the type of moves you like, oh well, but you can't say like what? They didn't sell well. They didn't hold their holds tight enough. They didn't lay their... Like, what makes good wrestling? Selling, being athletically gifted, doing these sorts of things, telling the story of what is the match. I saw some wrestler tweet out, oh, man, the story... this is a wrestler saying this. Oh, the storytelling in a match isn't just the stuff around the match. It can be in the match, too, like working a body part. Yeah, we know. But that can't be your television show story, guy. Exactly. And I hate to go so hard on... I forget the indie wrestler who it is. But it's like, yeah... everyone gets that, but this is a television show. So go to an indie. Yes, most of the stories are going to be a guy comes out, cuts a promo, two guys come out, they work a body part. Right. That's a house. That's like not even house show. That's like an indie show thing. You don't know the guys. This isn't that, bro. This is a weekly television product. You're trying to tour around the world and all this. You have to tell more than just that. Some of the matches in WWE are that too, but it can't all just be that, bro. Can't all just be about the fighting spirit and all that. Trust me, bro. That does not work. But yeah, Meltzer saying Punk and Drew have the edge. It was a big feud climax, very well done. But as far as match goes, Ospreay and Fletcher was a lot better. Not even like just a bit better. No, this was a lot better than Punk and Drew, bro. This is what he said, man. He's a sick freak, dude. He's lost his mind. In no way was Fletcher and Ospreay even comparable. It was not even comparable. No. A wasted throwaway match in a tournament that led to nothing but Okada versus Kenny again. You know, that's nothing compared to what Drew and Punk did. And Meltzer,
10-month feud.
This is why he has lost all of his credibility, and I will roast him till the end of time. There's no way I'm going to allow him to get away with this in his final years of being a reporter, because soon he's going to have to give this up. I swear people are going to call for his head, and he's going to have to give this up. And I don't want that to happen, but I also will cackle, you know, and that's why Alvarez, you got to start calling Dave out more. But Dave won't listen. But either way, Sean Garrett from what is this? Some Channel 7 news or something? I don't know. That logo next to his name is for like something 7 or so. I don't know. Bryan Alvarez, Vincent Verhey, Proper Jam, Filthy Tom Lawler. Since we were asking who has written more than Dave Meltzer, this is in the intro to the Winston Churchill documentary on Netflix. My money is still on Dave. So what a ball washer. But throughout his life, Churchill published over 6 million words, more than Shakespeare and Dickens combined, and delivered more than 5 million words in public speeches. Meltzer goes more than 80 million. Dave Meltzer's written more than 80 million words.
You what?
Is that true, dude? I don't know if that's true.
I mean, the Observer's been going on since the early 80s, so I can see it. But this is also why Dave has no life.
Dude, 80 million. Like, it wouldn't shock me. Most of them are, you know, like, that's what Lucy said. Meltzer said 80 million, and, you know, Tony Khan. He said Tony Khan 4 million times in the last 6 years. But yeah, dude, that's pretty crazy. And then this guy, like, my money's still on Dave, which could be true, man. But yeah, I mean, dude, get a life. I love that he documented all that wrestling over all the time, but for him to just now be like a biased hack shell of himself, and I've written all these words, it's like, bro, no one reads your written anymore. They listen to your dumb radio.
If you go back and listen to a lot of it, he was always a shill hack. Like, he was always bashing WWE. He'd always pick out a wrestler. Like he hated everything about Goldust so much that he's literally bashed on Dustin Rhodes for the rest of his career. It's just like, he's a psycho. He's a complete insane lunatic.
Yeah, and just zero credibility left. Here's Dave Meltzer's top 10 botches of 2024 per Alfred Kunawa in all their hilarity. Let's hear it for journalism, studying, and learning. So, again, Alfred Kunawa just bakes here. This is another amazing one.
Dave Meltzer's top 10 f***ups of 2024. Aging Dave misreported that Mike Johnson was denied access to a fake press conference. Midlife Meltzer got worked and misreported Hangman Adam Page's ankle injury as if it was real. Sling Blade Dave misreported that Nielsen put an end to those evil Fast National ratings, only for the Fast National ratings to continue to leak. Drip, drip. Lapdog Dave misreported that Jungle Boy wrote an apology letter to Tony Khan for the Brawl In. Jungle Boy denied ever writing such a letter. Message board Meltzer misreported WWE was keeping Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu apart, only for the two to get physical days later. Middle-aged Dave misreported Damian Priest and Seth Rollins would main event Money in the Bank. Then the Bloodline main evented against Rhodes and Randy. Dupable Dave misreported that Backlash would be in the Tokyo Dome. His source, a fake WrestleVotes account. Greg Meltzer misreported Alpha's death while he was still alive. Meltzer promptly apologized. Cape and Dave confused a Rock Triple H segment from 2014 with a 2020.
That one was so good. It's like he just doesn't watch WWE. That's why he just skims through it. He just puts it on. He doesn't pay attention.
4 storyline. And the number 1 Meltzer mess up was Glaze Meltzer confusing a message board fanfic for a WBD internal memo because these are
a message board fightful fanfic, dude. Amazing. Shout out Konoha. Dave Meltzer has weighed in on AEW's future recruitment after former WWE stars Baron Corbin, AJ Francis, and Tyler Breeze reportedly attended AEW's World's End. Meltzer says if somebody is exceptionally good or there's something they can do with them that's unique, they have a unique idea for them, of course, go for it. Dude, Breeze is better than 85% of the roster. But to have guys, just to have guys, they don't need more guys. They need more top guys. They need more stars. They don't need more bodies. Okay, well, where are they going to get the stars from? WWE? Then that doesn't work. So then you have to make a star, but then Tony can't make a star. But Dave Meltzer will just sit here and go, well, WWE's hot. That's the only reason why that these
guys Tony Khan.
And the viewership's going down. So, but I agree with him. They don't need more bodies. I wouldn't sign there unless he just offered me the money. But even Meltzer doesn't know. Meltzer said what? Says that Dave's going to go 20 minutes straight on Wrestling Observer Radio about Seth's competition line to Punk on Raw and how much the AEW TV deal is worth. Then Bryan will casually transition segments with, so take us through these ratings. And here we go. Meltzer said what? Follows up with it and says, it's Bizarro World. After trying to get Dave to talk about the last Raw in USA, Dave wanted to discuss ratings, and then when Bryan gave a long transition into talking about the history of Monday Night Wrestling on cable, Dave insisted on talking about CMLL instead. Dementia Dave, man, dude, and we've covered it, we've chronicled it here at PWT the last handful of shows, how Dave they'll start talking about Raw ratings or whatever, and and then Bryan's like, well, first let's talk about the handicap MMA match in Poland. Like, just obscure what he wants to talk about CMLL instead of Raw or the history of wrestling on Monday nights. You'd think you'd do that after USA, has had Raw. There was like a brief stint on TNN, I think, but it's been on USA for like 34 years or 32 years or whatever. So it's pretty crazy what Dave does. And this is just like, it's really sad at this point, man. 2025, it's no longer like nothing Dave says. I know he already lost all the credibility. Everyone just clowns him, but this is the sort of thing that no longer will anyone allow him, or should anyone allow him to get away with trying to say he's not biased. That needs to be what we get him to admit in 2025. You're biased. Just admit that. He never will, but that's got to be questioning his journalism. We know we know he makes literally everything up. What we need to be telling him in 2025 is, bro, how much do you own? 2%? 3%? You own 3%? He still never addressed it,
I still think it's just because he knows the Observer subscribers are AEW fans.
Well, now we're going to talk about Raw, the final. This was actually, as far as cable TV, the end of Monday Night Wrestling. Yeah. It's gone. It's off cable television. Mm-hmm. We're doing this podcast.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Like, he just doesn't care.
No big deal.
He doesn't want to talk about it. The whole reason,
years of history doesn't matter.
The whole reason Dave Meltzer has any money or a job or anything in the world is because WWE and Monday Night Raw, and he's just like, yep. Oh well. Like, he's acting like it's nothing because he has to no-sell everything WWE does as if it's nothing.
Podcast now because of Monday Night Cable Wrestling. That's how I first started getting into wrestling.
Alvarez is trying to say, dude, the only reason we do this is because of Monday Night Wrestling, and Dave just didn't see him all
Mexico. Didn't I bring up talking about Mexican wrestling?
You brought up talking about
Listen to Bryan. You brought up talking about Mexican wrestling.
Mexican wrestling.
You brought up talking about Mexican wrestling.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Big week CMLL had.
What about it?
Man, they had a giant weekend.
Oh my god!
What the? Oh my!
Man, they had a giant weekend.
Oh my god, man! Holy shit!
Just embarrassing,
bro. That garnered the E flute. That's our E flute moment of the whole of the segment. You know what I mean? Like, bro.
That gave me shortness of breath.
Bro, what the fuck is he talking about, man?
I don't know.
Shit. That's insanity. He's like, oh, didn't I want to talk? I want to bring it back a bit here. This is crazy. He goes, didn't I want to talk about Mexican wrestling? Brian's like, I was just talking about the whole reason we have the show and Monday Night Wrestling, which is a tradition on cable for the last 40 fucking years or whatever. And even before that, Territories Monday Wrestling was like a thing. And dude, this is like a big deal. It's not on cable or anything anymore. Wrestling's now just on streaming. Monday's like the only reason we have a show or we even do this whole thing. And Dave goes, well, didn't I want to talk about Max CMLL? They had a huge weekend. Bigger than this. Dave, this is why your numbers are shrinking, because the same reason AEW is shrinking, like no one cares about Mexican wrestling here, or we'd all be watching Mexican wrestling here. Dave, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah, the big week CMLL had.
Big weeks.
What about it?
Man, they had a giant weekend. So
we're talking about this now? Okay, talk about CMLL.
You can hear the defeat, Brian.
It's like an old grandpa with like dementia. Like, okay, grandpa, you want to play checkers now? Let's go play checkers.
Tell us the story of the war.
So yeah, Friday night show, they sold out on Friday. I think it's the holidays. But Friday sold out. Arena Mexico, over 15,000 people for the Legendario and Templario match with the Crixus and Ultimo Guerrero, Grand Alternativa finals. And
what does any of this have to do with
my god, dude, he'd rather talk about that than Raw and never being on Monday night anymore on cable. Like, this is so sad, bro.
Crixus did not win. Crixus was pushed like crazy the week before.
I'm sorry, are you saying crickets? What the fuck is this guy talking about?
Basically, there's a tournament where you have a star teaming with a newcomer, and the idea is the newcomer who wins the tournament is supposed to end up being a star. I mean, like the list of guys who've won this tournament, include, Mystico.
He loves him some Mystico, dude.
Garza, Soberano, Templario, Ultimo Guerrero, Rey Bucanero, like the whole list. You look at these guys, and it was like there are exceptions, but generally speaking, the guy who wins this tournament ends up as a star. Generally.
Oh my God, this man has spiraled out of control. So, Jesus Christ. This guy, the thirst round pick, rather, says, here's what Eric Bischoff actually said, and this post was deleted. So it was, I want to say, Meltzer talking. Yeah, he's responding to Dave, who deleted this post. So Dave deleted what he's talking. Yeah, dude.
Get screenshots.
Yes, because once the screenshots came, old Dusty Meltzer got destroyed. And yeah, so here's what Eric Bischoff actually said. I wish I could read what the Meltzer said originally, but these are quotes from mid-2023 and others from 24. So reacting to the news on his special Wise Choices, Bischoff wanted everyone to know that he thought the reported news was positive for AEW, and save for the brief period WBD was in talks with WWE, he always felt AEW and WBD would come to terms. First of all, it's nothing but good news, Bischoff said. Let's be really clear. Despite what a lot of people have said, particularly social media and dirt sheets and Reddit comments that I've seen, where I've been, according to them, forecasting demise for AEW, and they would never get a new deal and all that, which is absolutely false. Going back probably a year ago, I predicted that AEW would get a new deal. So this is when Dave said, show me where you predicted this and that. Show me either you're a fraud or a con artist or a liar. The best guy.
The best guy, Tony Khan.
Yeah, so this is the response to that. Okay. And yeah, so here's more quotes with Bischoff. Someone came with receipts. Bischoff didn't even bother to. But yeah, so Bischoff says, what matters is AEW's got a strong, firm, long-term foothold with a leading cable outlet that provides nothing but opportunity. So congratulations to Tony and the team and the roster, because at the end of the day, it's all about who tunes in to see who. That's all about the talent. Here we go. Here's what I do know. I know it's a really great thing. It's really great. I know Tony should be proud. The entire team of AEW. Boom, boom, boom. So basically, he just came with receipts, bro, like a year ago. Bischoff was saying he's kept the same energy this whole time. Bischoff responds and goes, "You're trying to debate with a delusional clown. He's lost in his own reality."
Well,
and
well,
yeah, well, Bryan. And to end this segment, we actually end it with your boy Phil Marks, because Dave Meltzer was talking all that about, and I think, well, I don't want to say other dirt sheets, but Meltzer for sure was just talking about, like, the back catalog isn't going to be that good, and WWE's not going to, there's not going to be that much of a back catalog. And from the looks of it, and what I've been told the back catalog is like just lying through his teeth. And even I said it on the show, it's like, yeah, sure, Dave. Yeah, it's really, what did I tell you guys? It's going to be a WWE section on Netflix. So I have it right now. I don't know what it's like in America, but in Canada, I have it right now. There's a WWE section. They have a Raw vault, an NXT vault, and a SmackDown vault. Or you can just go to the WWE collection, and then every, like, WrestleMania, they have every Royal Rumble. They added, like, every in your head. They added,
yeah, I saw they had, like, fully loadeds and stuff.
Bro,
like,
they added every fully loaded. Now on the episodes, like, let's say you click on Raw, they don't have every year and every episode uploaded yet, other than the last 3 years, though. So that's a pretty big back catalog. But also,
to catch people
they have every key episode from, like, every year, from, like, the early 90s, and then the Attitude stuff. They're obviously curating a little more, but they have, like, all the key episodes of Raw, like, uploaded, man. So let's say you're like, oh, I want to look at Raw from 93. Okay, they don't have every Raw from 93, but they have the fucking 5 key ones so far. And the reason is because they want people, like, apparently what Netflix is saying, not what Dave Meltzer invented what they said, but what they're actually saying. They want to slowly give people more and more of a catalog and a library and all of that, right? So I wake up, it's January 1st. First thing I do, I go to look at this. And I started watching WrestleMania 1 or whatever, but it's just hilarious. So I tweet this out. No mind. I'm paying no mind. It gets 202,000 views, 3.3K likes. When we started the show, it was at 600 likes only. 254 retweets, 146 comments, whatever. So I went kind of viral. But I was like, Dave Meltzer, there won't be much WWE back catalog on Netflix. Netflix today. Here's every Royal Rumble ever. And I got a pop. I popped myself, but I got a kick out of so many people thinking that's funny, because I'm saying every Royal Rumble. There's also, like, way more than that too. And it was just like I said, it's sectioned off. They have the Raw vault, the SmackDown vault, the NXT vault. Dave's an idiot. If he actually associated with real human beings, if he actually watched Netflix, if he actually paid attention, if he actually knew about the TV business or streaming services, people have told me what I've been told. Who at Netflix is talking to Dave? Who at fucking WWE is telling Dave anything, bro? He's a Muppet. He made that up. I was right again. Got 3 told you so's January 1st already. Okay, your boy Phil already. Bringing the ding on Meltzer. And that was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week, and the first one of 2025, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic.